Greetings, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here today with another episode of Ask Dave. Today we're going to do something very interesting. A lot of people have noticed that on our reference station, the ICOM IC-7300, there's no IF out or anything like that you can run into an SDR receiver so that you can create your own Panadapter. Well, there are a couple approaches to that. One way to do it is to use a switch like this MFJ 1708 SDR. If you do get this, get the B model. And what this does is it has the antenna coming in and it goes out to the SDR and out to the radio. Okay, and the two are connected together while you are receiving. When you are transmitting, there's a jack here that picks up the signal from the back of the radio that you are transmitting, and it will switch here to disconnect the SDR from that circuit and short it so that it will be protected in transmitting. Now, one of the problems with this is you still are pumping quite a bit into the SDR, and the other problem is that since you're paralleling a 50 ohm and a 50 ohm impedance together, you're getting a 25 ohm impedance with a 50 ohm feed line, and you, in theory, lose 3 dB of your signal. There's this way, which costs this amount, and then there is another way which is far more sophisticated, put out by a company called RadioAnalog. Now, what these people do is they go into the radio itself. You've got to lift the cover on there. And then you put in a little circuit board that they give you right here, and you insert it into the signal chain. And it's right after the filters that select the band. So before it's digitized, but after the filtering, to just take the band that you want, it amplifies and splits that so that you have just 0 dB of gain through your normal circuit, but you also get an output in the back that is from that band. Now, this is the same as the FTDX RF output. For example, if you're tuned in the IC-7300 to the 20 meter band, what will come out of that will be 20 meters. The entire band after the band filtering, but before the digitization, the entire band. So you have to tune your software-defined radio to 14 megahertz or the 20 meter band, and then you can pick it up there too. Now, what is the advantage of this? Why pay the high price of this? This thing costs a quarter of what the radio itself costs. What is the advantage of doing that? Well, the advantage of doing that is that you get a very, very nice software-defined radio output, and when you do transmit, you will not have any chance of transmitting that into the software-defined radio. Now, with normal leakage, considering you're putting 100 watts out and you're looking at microwatts on the radio, you'll see your signal strong and clear on the software-defined radio. But I thought what we'd do is, I got this, it arrived yesterday, and I'm going to put this in to the IC-7300 and then attach it to my SDR Play RSP-1A software-defined receiver using the SDR Uno software, and we'll see how it comes out. It's a pretty beautiful thing to behold. Here's the device. It comes in a little box that says RadioAnalog from www.radioanalog.com. Okay, and this is the PTRX-7300, the Panadapter module for it. Now, this doesn't provide the Panadapter, okay, nor does it take advantage of the Panadapter that's in the radio. What this is going to do is tap into a port in the radio. Let's take a look at what's inside. There are two things. There's some plastic bags of electronics and a carefully crunched up set of instructions that we're going to have to follow very, very closely. These really should be printed on full-size sheets of paper for people with old eyes like mine. Just to give you an idea how big this thing is, here's a pen. It's not very big at all. There is a circuit board, okay, and there is a connecting cable, a cable that's going to go from the device to the software-defined radio, and then a little power cable. Now, to put this thing in, we're going to have to remove the cover of the 7300. So I'm going to move the 7300 out here and back off on the camera. Okay. And I'm going to remove the power plug. I think I'm going to remove the power plug. There. Okay. Now I'm going to leave the grounding cable on. Let's see if we can go out just a little bit further. That's it. Now we're going to take all million screws off the cover here. And now these, I am told, are actually not Phillips, they're JIS. I went looking for a JIS screwdriver and did not find one. I'm going to be careful with my Phillips. I'm going to put these screws in a container here so I won't lose them, I hope. Okay, the top comes off. There's not much in the top here. I'll set that down over there. And we'll look inside the radio. Okay, it's built around an aluminum chassis. And here's how we're going to do this. We're going to look in here. We've found our parts. They are there. They're right over here. Okay. Firstly, remove the top cover in place of the tuner jack. Slide the tuner jack up. It just sits there. See that? That's the tuner jack. And it comes over to that. Separate the jack with its cable assembly from the rig. Now, I don't know if that just plugs in or if there's a latch. Nope, just plugs in. So we can pull this out. Now, the interesting thing about this plug that goes right in here, it picks up power. So we'll be able to pick up power for our little unit. And then this can plug in to the back over here so you can still run the tuner if you want. Now I'm not going to plug it in because I don't use this to run a tuner, but I am going to store this with these other little parts and pieces that came with the radio. So I'll always have them together, and I'm going to label them. Okay, now that we've done that, project, and it's got pictures here of really how it's done. Okay, now we're going to take this thing right here, okay, and we're going to attach the cable assembly. And it's going to go this way, and we're going to plug it in with the red up here on the top. There, okay. Now this is going to fit this way, okay, and we're going to slide that right down in there. These have got to be moved somewhat. Okay, and then this thing comes over here and goes into there with the red one facing north. Well, I guess actually it's west in this case. Okay, and then this needs to be kind of tucked under that cable there. Okay, because this cover's got to go down on all of this. Now, all right, there's a gray coaxial cable with temporary connector. Go from J141, pull the cable out of J14131 and plug it into the TMP jack here. Okay, this is J1431, is this one right here. We pull it out, it just pulls out, and then this goes into this jack right here. It does, it really does. Okay. Okay, goes over to there. Now we take this, and this is going to go onto here, and onto here. All right. That down. All right. And okay. And that's it. That's it. We've all that we've got to do. We've inserted this now in this line, and then coming out here, I'll just put this on so you can see where it comes out. Right here. Okay, and that's going to go to the SDR radio. So let me put the cover back on, and we'll come up here where we can watch the cover being put back on, and then we'll give it a try. Okay. Now, it's real nice the way this thing goes in, because you can see here, I'm see if I can zoom down on top of it. This looks very professional and like it belongs. So the little adapter cable for the antenna tuner, which is this right here, plugs in right there. I'm not going to use that right now, but I'm going to keep it where I can find it, okay? So that comes out of the back. Now let's put the cover on. Metal, aluminum. Okay, it's actually aluminum. Not real thick aluminum, but it's aluminum. That's all it's got to be. Okay. And a lot of things it looks like just slide and pop right in and attach to this aluminum chassis. This cast aluminum piece in here has a bay here, and then bays up on the underside. Okay. Now, let's start putting these back. Now, whenever you put screws back into an assembly like this, you don't tighten them down right away, because the whole thing might have to just sort of give a little bit in order to allow another screw in on the other side. So this is an old technique. You do the same thing, well, similar thing when you put a tire back on a car. You don't tighten everything up instantly, but you tighten them up in a certain order to kind of spread the torque around the object being attached. The torque is the twisting motion. And as each of these settle, it wants to move the cover. Now ideally they all sit directly over the screws where they're supposed to go, but ideal is only for ideal conditions. Yep. Okay, now we want to tighten all the screws. I'm just going to start with the ones around the speaker. I want to be careful not to strip them. Alright, I don't have enough adapters around to use my regular switch here, so I'm just going to take this off. This goes directly in to the software-defined radio. Let me just make sure that that really is a male. Yes, it's a male, and it goes in here. There are male SMA, female SMA, and then there's the kind of SMA that are used for wireless devices, which are mixed gender. Okay, we're going to put the power back on. Okay. And we'll turn it on. Oh, we got to turn on the power supply. Okay. And that is on 14200. Let's see, let's get it over to A. Okay, so that's looking proper. It's looking proper there. Now I'm going to turn the volume down here, and I'm going to go over to the computer and I'm going to see what we can see. And what we're looking at is, let's see, the radio. I'm going to turn the radio to 20 meters. And now you got to kind of follow it with this, 20 meters. Okay, now you can see on here the same thing that you see on the front screen, although of course it's quite a bit bigger. Now this is the entire band, okay? The entire 20-meter band that you're looking at that's coming out of the back of that radio. It's the middle of the afternoon. So let's see, I'll just show you that right there. It's 2:45, so it's not a lot going on right at the moment. 20 is pretty active compared to some of the other bands. But you can hear them if I unmute it. Oh, we want upper side band.
73 to Idaho. Who was in November 6th again? November 6th? November 6th, radio.
Okay, now it's important to understand that what you're looking at here is the entire band. You can listen to a different signal on this band than you listen to on the 7300. Now, if we go to a different band, see we're on 20, let's just try 17. We're not going to see anything on 17 unless I come over here or 18 meters and press the button for that band. Okay, we see a big digital signal in there. So this works exactly the same way that my FTDX-3000 works. What it puts out the back is dependent on what band the radio is on. So it says it puts out an IF frequency. It does not. It is putting out the actual RF frequency. See, we're on the 20-meter band. The radio itself is at 14.239 right now. But what is coming out of the back of the radio in analog form is the entire 20-meter band in analog format. We're catching it before it goes into the digitization. Okay, so we can listen to this if we wanted to.
Roger, Roger. Whiskey Bravo 6 Charlie Juliet Tango. 59 plus 20, Emil. 73
Okay, so we're down here to CW signals. Nice slow code. Or fast code, depending on what you want. But you can see it all. Here, of course, is your FT8, very busy band all of the time. And you can kind of play games with the bandwidth. Yeah, we get the whole band now. Okay, up here at the top. But there are lots of things that you can do with this. This is something I really liked about the about my FTDX-3000 is that I could look at the whole band on here and get a nice bigger picture of it. So to operate, you turn the IC-7300 to the band you want, and then you turn your software-defined radio to that same band, in this case 20. It's real easy with SDR Uno and the SDR Play receivers. Okay? Okay, so there you are. I mean, you could be perfectly happy with the band scope that's on the front of the receiver. After all, it is pretty nice. But if you want a really big one, a nice one on your computer, then you are going to have to do either following the MFJ route or the RadioAnalog route to see what you want to get. In terms of what is safer for your SDR receiver, clearly this one is right here, and this will give you a little bit better signal and so on. By the way, on the back of this thing, as I pointed out in the build video, you are using the slot that was used by the driver for the ICOM brand tuner, but they have provided the mechanism whereby you can still use that. So you lose nothing and you gain an RF output that matches the band that you're using. It really is pretty nifty. Now again, to clear up a misconception, this is not an IF output, this is the actual RF output. And a lot of radios have a true IF output, but this radio is not a super heterodyne, so there is no IF. So there's just the RF, and that is what it is providing. And as I demonstrated, it worked great. Do I like this little thing? You bet. This is fabulous. Do I like the price? No. I think it should be about half the price or less. But these things are complicated to make. They're done in low volume, very low volume. This is their only product right at the moment. And it's a pretty neat little thing. They put a lot of engineering and development into, and so that's going to bring the price up a little bit. So if you're not sensitive to the price, go this way. As you found out, very easy installation. All you need is a screwdriver to take the case off. Then everything else is done by hand. No tools. No tools at all. And then you need the screwdriver to put the case back on. Now, I did not have a JIS screwdriver, so that's Japan Industrial Standard, so I used a Phillips screwdriver, which worked just fine. I was careful not to strip any of the screw heads. Now, I'm going to show a photograph here. This is a photograph taken of the local area. I've got a massive collection of these photographs that I've taken from the time that I did my motorcycle riding. And people of late have said they would like to see a little bit more of the outdoors. I think it comes from being inside so much. Also, I would like you to take a look at dcastler.com/support, see if anything there strikes your fancy. And until we next meet, 73.